agreed that by July the process would have been completed. So what I'm trying to say here is that we have a time frame for all the meetings to take place. Of course, we are dealing here with difficult, complex issues. But what is important is to show that we have the ability to take ownership as important, responsible states for the affairs, our own affairs, whether they are bilateral or regional affairs, in terms especially relating to stability, peace and development. This requires a lot of patience. This requires a lot of determination, and above all, this requires the requisite political will to embark on such an undertaking. I do not want to say there are many skeptics, and history of the previous 6 decades or more is replete with hope and despair. This time, I would like to say that we are confident and optimistic that we will be able to start to make some difference to the regional picture. It is important. It is important for Pakistan as it is, I believe, important for India. Why do I say this? Pakistan, India, South Asia can never hope to fulfill the aspirations of the peoples of this region for prosperity and development if we continue to remain mired in the past. We have to deal with complex issues of history to resolve all the outstanding issues that are well defined. But we need to have the conviction and the commitment, and besides that, the patience to at least paint for the people of Pakistan and India and for the people of this region, the South Asian region and beyond, a picture not of despondency and despair, but of hope and optimism. It is that vision that we need to not only jointly create, share, define, but then put across. I believe that in both countries, there is now the realization that continued deadlock is self-defeating. If our priority is development and prosperity, that is what everyone wants, then we've got to create an enabling environment for that. Also, South Asia cannot be isolated from the developments in the broader region, the Asian region as a whole, and from the developments now taking place in the global landscape, be it at the strategic plane, the political or the economic planes. I think we ought to take a macro view, then place ourselves and take myriad steps towards a goal, and that the goal is development, stability and peace. Pakistan happens to be both an important country in South Asia. Peace, security and stability in South Asia is imperative. It is imperative for Pakistan, it is an imperative that cannot be eschewed by India, and it is an imperative that cannot be eschewed by the world. We are also a country which are in the other adjoining 2 regions, Central Asia and West Asia. So therefore, geography impels us to take on our responsibilities as an important, responsible state on the road to making efforts to set the directions. I'm not saying here that Pakistan wants to be the game changer. That is not the phrase I would use. But certainly we would like to play the role of a game changer insofar our own affairs are concerned, and especially in our immediate neighborhood. My talks with the Indian Foreign Secretary, which lasted for more than 4 hours on 2 days, were cordial, frank, direct, and very constructive. What was notable was that there was no acrimony, and that we decided to focus on the bigger picture and on the dividends of a just settlement of disputes and enduring peace, and what it implies for the people of both countries. And also had very constructive meeting with His Excellency, the Indian External Affairs Minister, Mr. Krishna. I was assured by my Indian interlocutors of the vision and mission of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh to peace. This was a reiteration. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and our Prime Minister Syed Yusuf Raza Gilani, as you know, have met previously on at least 3 occasions, and they have talked of peace. And they have talked about one thing, and that is that dialogue is the only way forward. So our mandate at the officials level was to implement that political directive from the respective leadership into a dialogue format that we have been able to do successfully, and of course we are very satisfied with the outcome. I also had the opportunity to represent Pakistan at the SAARC Standing Committee and the Council of Ministers meeting in Thimphu, where we underscored the importance that Pakistan attaches to developing a cooperative framework which is meaningful, which is pragmatic. The points that we wanted to underscore, and which we did underscore, was that SAARC should be made relevant to the ordinary people of the region. And we said that it's important not just to have a calendar of meetings, but move towards a project-oriented approach. We also pointed out that we needed, SAARC as a whole needs to take cognizance of the greater Asian neighborhood. And as you know, the whole world is focused on Asia. Asia has emerged in this century as the driving engine for global economic growth and development. This is a vast region. If you look at it economically, huge market. So therefore, some notions which were valid previously, in the previous decades, about export-led growth strategies, which are of course relevant even today, but what is happening in the broader Asian neighborhood is a lot of interaction taking place in terms of comprehensive economic partnerships, expanding free trade regimes, and establishing other modalities and frameworks, which of course are of great interest to Pakistan. And I must say that we have on our own bilaterally been very cognizant of the importance of relating to and associating and developing such frameworks with our other Asian partners. Our trusted friend, most reliable and truly true friend in terms we call all-weather, time-tested, China is leading the global economic growth phenomena.